Welcome, my friends. Welcome to the museum. And we're picking up here on part 22 of our 45 RPM vinyl records A through Z collection on My Media Museum. This is Will. I promised you something a little different at the end of the last episode. And here it is, These Eyes by the Guess Who, with a question mark. And that's what brings up a little discussion here. Chad Allen and the Expressions released an album in 1965 called Shaking All Over, with a subtitle of Guess Who with a question mark. No the, just Guess Who and the question mark. Later that year, 65, they released a EP, more or less one side theirs and another side another band, called Hey Ho. And then in 1966, they released their second album as The Guess Who with a question mark. The album was called It's Time. So that brings us up to 1969, which is when These Eyes came out on 45. And it was from the album Wheatfield Soul, where they had dropped the question mark. So it was just Wheatfield Soul by The Guess Who, no question mark. So it's interesting that the 45 has the question mark, but the album did not, which was technically their third album. So the B-side of this is a song called Lightfoot. And of course it still has the question mark on the B-side as well. So moving on to 1970, and by the time you get to 1970, they had removed the question mark from the name of the band. This is Hand Me Down World. You'll see there's no question mark. And this is something that I hadn't really noticed. I've been a Guess Who fan since going way back when. But until I came across that These Eyes 45, I hadn't really noticed the question mark and hadn't really remembered seeing the question mark on any album. That's because, the bulk of all their albums, once they really hit it big, did not have the question mark on it. B-side here is Running Down the Street. And this one I'm going to show you one more time. This was the end of episode 21, and I had it really crooked. So I want to take a brief second. I've got a better copy of this, and it was probably lined up better in a previous video anyways. This has got some stacker wear, which makes it a little hard to see. But the B-side, Share the Land. And again, this was later on, after they had dropped the question mark. So there was never any question about it before that I saw These Eyes. There's a nice little Electra sleeve with the Electra logo there for you. Excuse me. All right, so here we've got Harry Chapin, doing Cats in the Cradle. And I always thought that was what the heck's his name? Anyways, I thought that was someone other than Harry Chapin. I didn't think that was him. The B-side is Vacancy, but Cats in the Cradle and the Silver Spoon. Cat Stevens, that's who I thought it was. I thought that was Cat Stevens for years, but turns out it's not Cat Stevens, it's Harry Chapin. And I don't know of another song that he did, but everybody knows Cats in the Cradle. You've heard it a million times. Here's Heart with Tell It Like It Is off of the self-titled Heart album from the 80s when they started getting really poppy. But this was a good song. I like Tell It Like It Is. And the B-side of that being Strange Euphoria, which if I remember right, they had a box set that they used that title for as well, 4 CD box set, which I did end up getting. Had I think a Live in Seattle concert on the 4th disc. But Straight On, off of the Dog and Butterfly album, is our next Heart 45 to look at. And I've shown a lot of really great Heart 45s in the mixed boxes collections. I thought I had more Heart in this A to Z, but there's a lot of stuff that I thought I had in this A to Z that I'm not running across. So I'm just remembering things that I bought at a later time and had wished I had gotten them all sorted in. B-side here is a lighter touch, and it's kind of like the album was, Dog and Butterfly. Dog was rockin', Butterfly was mellow. You had the lighter touch was the mellow song, and Straight On was your rockin' song. So that was a really good album. I really liked it. I liked both sides. Of course, I liked the rockin' side better. But this is a reissue of Straight On. You can clearly tell because it's got the retrospect And a release date of August 1978. But the B-side of this is Barracuda, and not Lighter Touch. So they did change the B-side for the reissue, and Barracuda may actually have been considered the A-side of that, but it's a double A, so it really doesn't matter. It's got two great songs from Heart there. Now this one's a little, out of place. Delta Dawn by Helen Reddy, 1973. Yeah, it's be more country, maybe borderline pop. But for me personally, this is just one of those that I remember being in the jukebox down at the cafe where my aunt used to waitress, and we'd go in there and flip through the little jukebox. On every table had a little jukebox on it, and you could flip through and pick songs to listen to. And Delta Dawn was one of them. My sister really loved it. She would always pick it when we were in there. So I've heard Delta Dawn, what's that flower you have on, more times than I care to have. B-side of this being If We Could Still Be Friends. Notice it's written by Paul Williams. That's interesting. I love Paul Williams. He's a great guy, great character. Did a lot more things than just Smokey and the Bandit, that's for sure. Had some Carpenter songs done by Paul Williams as well. He wrote songs for a lot of people, a lot of great bands. Now here's some good stuff. This is right up my alley. Helix and Rock You off of their Walking the Razor's Edge album. This is a Canadian metal band from the early 80s. I mean, this is 84 here. This is their second album, I do believe. So 82 or 83 is when the first album came out. And the B-side of this is You Keep Me Rockin'. And yeah, Helix had their moments of fame. They had a few really great songs. You should look into them if you like them, or if you have an interest. But I don't have nearly as much metal as I would love to have on vinyl, that's for certain. I just picked up a copy of Judas Priest's Hero double vinyl at a garage sale recently. It looked mint. I was really happy to get that and add that to the collection. But you don't get a lot of heavy metal on 45s. Or at least I haven't ran across them myself. So here we got Rise by Herb Alpert. Da, 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 da. I remember playing that when I was in band in junior high. I played trumpet. And that Rise was definitely one of them that you learned to play, at least at that time. It was a real popular song and something that every trumpet player learned how to play. The B-side of this is Aranjuez, Mon Amour. I'm not sure about the pronunciation of the first word there, but Mon Amour is my love, I do believe. But Rise is the one that we got that for. All right, now here's one that goes back to my mother's collection. She is no longer with us. She passed on a few years back. But this was one that she bought and she had in her collection. And what's interesting about this, it says yes this side, which is kind of comical, because in a minute I'll explain what I'm getting my point. But Holly's doing He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother. It's actually not on this side. The labels are reversed. He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother is on this side. And Because You Like to Love Me, not this side, is on the other side. So kind of interesting, kind of funny. This one's a special vinyl to me for a couple of reasons. You know, having been in my mom's original collection from when she was a kid, crossing over into my collection, and having the reversed sides on the labels. Now, you can't tell that unless you go put it on the turntable. But if you want to hear He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother, and you put this on a turntable, you're going to get a little surprised because you ain't going to hear the right song. All right, next up we've got Robert Plant's little special project after Zeppelin there called The Honeymooners. And come with me, my love, to the sea of love on Volume 1. There never was a Volume 2. And if I remember right, this was an EP. There was only 5 songs on it anyway, and they were all cover songs. The B-side being I Get a Thrill. But I think everybody knows the Sea of Love song, and that was a really good release. I'm surprised that they never did a Volume 2, or that there was never any follow-up to that. And here's a nice little, they call them novelty songs. Popcorn by Hot Butter, I might be a little off on my tune there, but that's pretty much the gist of it. It's a little poppy, snappy little song, and you'd know it if you heard it, more than likely than not. I haven't heard it in a long time. I'm surprised it hasn't popped up in a few movie soundtracks as of late, but because it's right of that period. But the B-side of Hot Butter was at the movies. I actually saw this full album in a thrift store about 6 months to a year ago, and they wanted a ridiculous amount of money for it. It just kind of made me giggle and move on. Yeah, Popcorn's a really good song, and I've got a couple of different versions of this. I got a couple of 45s in the mixed boxes that we've already covered of that song. And last one we're going to look at here in episode 22 is going to be Hot Chocolate doing You Sexy Thing, which is definitely disco, no doubt about it, but it's a good disco song. It's a fun song. And the B-side is a weird title, Amazing Skin Song. A little odd. And so here, the last minute or so, I want to take a moment and show you some business cards I had made up for the group. This was the original one that I had made up, but it was supposed to have the QR code on the back, and it didn't. They printed the exact same thing on both sides. So I was real happy with the quality of the stock and the way it looked. It's pretty good. But I went to another site so I could do a card that had the QR code on it. And they shrunk it down. I didn't have any of this border when I designed it and printed it, so it all should have been a little bit bigger. So I was really disappointed with it being shrunk down, but that QR code will work. It will take you to the group's homepage, should you want to scan that and try it. And the backside was blank, as I originally, at this point, asked it to be. So I wanted to just take a second and share those with you because I've never shown them on the channel. And I've been going around putting them up on bulletin boards and stuff all over town. I don't know if they've helped get us any subscribers or not, but it's fun. All right, have a wonderful day, and come on back for episode 23.